I worked as an Uber driver for a little over a year, and I would get to decide if I wanted to accept or decline the customer's order. There was one night I had made well over $100, and I decided to drive a little later. I then got an order from McDonald's. The woman only ordered one cheeseburger, but I accepted the order and picked it up from McDonald's. After following my GPS, I saw that the customer had called and said that she was at her friend's house, and she put the wrong address in. She asked if I could drive to this one instead. I was a little ignored, but I agreed. I then plugged in her address in Google Maps and began to follow the map. I started to notice that on the way there, the neighborhood was really starting to get really sketchy. I mean, I'm not a judgmental person, but I did not feel safe driving this late at night in this sketchy neighborhood. But I kept driving and began to get closer to the person's house. I then parked on the side and could see a house that was outside my passenger's window. And I was surrounded by broken down houses and apartments, and the street light was flickering on and off. I got out the car and grabbed the bag and went to the house and knocked on the door. That's when I got a notification, and the woman asked if I could bring her food to the back of the house, because she was walking her dog. I thought this was strange because who walks their dog at 12 a.m.? But I'm not going to bring her food to the backyard. I told her, look, I'm sorry, but I'll just leave your food at the front door. I told her to have a good night. After I began to start walking back to my car, I then got into my car and began to start driving away. As I looked in my rearview mirror, I could see a man in the dimly flickering streetlights. The guy was holding a knife in his hand. I then backed up really fast and hit the pedal and forwarded past the man. When the man threw something at the back window of my car, shattering it. It had to have been a rock. I just kept driving, paranoid. I was pissed but also scared for my life. I then made it out of there and called the police and told them what all happened. The police then went to the female's house, and the man was not there no more. A couple nights later, the man was then found, and the female and the guy were soon arrested after trying to do the same thing to happen to me to another Uber driver. It turned out that the female would order the food, and the guy would try to rob, or hell, hurt the other person afterwards. It was a weird, sick game that they played, but I am just happy that that man and female were caught, because someone could have got really hurt. After a long day of work, I got home around 9 p.m. and was so tired to cook. I ended up door dashing some food, and I got a burger and fries. The dasher said they would be there in 30 minutes. I then turned on a movie and waited for my food to be delivered. I then saw that it had been an hour and my food was still not there. I then checked the app and could see that my food had been picked up 30 minutes ago. They still were not there. This really started to piss me off because not only was my food going to be cold and nasty, I was hungry as hell. I then heard my doorbell ring. I opened the door and saw the DoorDash man as he said, "Order for Addison?" I then said thank you. The man said you're welcome as he smiled and walked off. I then shut the door and went to go eat. The food tasted really weird and was just really disgusting. I was never the type of person to throw away food, but there was no way I was finishing that. I then tossed the rest of it in the trash can and began to lay down on the couch and finish my movie. I then heard a knock at my door. I went to see who it was, and I could see the DoorDash guy. I asked if everything was okay. He said, could he have my number? I thought this was weird and told the man that I was seeing someone. He walked off and got in his car and drove away. I then went to lay back on the couch, began to get really sleepy. So I went upstairs and did my usual night routine. I brushed my teeth, get ready for bed. That's when I heard a car door shut, and I could see bright car headlights shining at my room window. I then peeked out my room window and could see the DoorDash guy and a group of other guys as well. I then started to get scared because I live alone. As I began to reach my phone, I then heard my downstairs front door knob jiggling, as if they were trying to get in my house. I dialed 911 and explained to them that there was a group of men trying to break into my house. The officer told me to stay calm and they would have someone in the next minute at my house. I Then heard a glass shatter downstairs, and I could hear footsteps all through my house. I then locked and shut my door and hid in my closet, hoping the man would not come in my room. I could hear the DoorDash guy saying my name. Which I'd be so stuck up, declining me, huh? I was scared and I could hear stuff all downstairs getting broken. This was more terrifying because the man who broke in my house, his reason was because I told him I was seeing someone, which I guess he got mad and his rage controlled him. I kept hearing the man call my name, but I ignored it, waiting for the police to show up. Then I heard police sirens and a lot of footsteps running down my house, getting in their cars and driving away. Not long after, the police arrived at my house, which was a mess. The men destroyed all my glasses, pictures, and even my downstairs TV. I told the police what happened and showed the police officer the DoorDash guy's name. Not long after, the guy who gave me my food wasn't my real DoorDasher. It turned out that he robbed my original DoorDasher and came to my house to deliver my food. And when he asked my number, he was just trying to get me to open my door so he could come in and do whatever he was trying to do. The scary part is, even after giving the cops everything I knew about the guy, him and his buddies have not been found ever since, and I have not used DoorDash because of this incident that happened to me. After graduating high school, I decided to get a pizza delivery job and try to save up some more money so I could afford my own place. I worked at this pizza job for a couple of months and everything was good. There'd be time customers would come in and complain, but that was about it. I decided to switch over to the night shift and try that out. On my shift, I got a call and I answered. The guy asked if he can get a small pepperoni pizza. I asked what his address was, and the man told me. I told the man I would be there in 10 minutes after grabbing my keys and getting in my car. I then started to drive to the man and deliver his pizza. As I was driving, I came to a stop sign. There was a car that was right in front of me. The car was not moving, and it had been 5 minutes. I honked softly, because maybe the guy was asleep or texting or something. The guy stayed there. I began to pull around, but the car drove off fast. I was just ignored, but I kept driving. I then came at a red light, and the same car from earlier pulled up next to me. I looked over and could see a man and a group of other men in the back. I then waited for the light to turn green before pressing the gas and getting out of there. I then got away and arrived to the man's house. His neighborhood was nice. As I got out the car and began to go to the passenger side to grab the small pizza, I then went up to the door and began to knock. The man answered, and he looked at me as if he was mad or something. He kept looking over my shoulders. The man was also a bigger guy, so I told the man what the total was, and the man told me if I could come in and bring his pizza inside. I told the man no, and have a good night. I began to hear a lot of footsteps coming from inside the house, from the upstairs area. I then started to pick up my pace and start to walk faster. I could see a group of men all running at me. I then ran to my car and tried to unlock it. That's when I got hit in the head by something. I guess it was a stick or even a rock. I was then knocked out after I woke up. I could feel that my wallet and keys and everything I had was gone. I had no way of getting out of there. I was in a different place. I was dropped off on a highway and then I did not know my way back. I kept walking for a mile or two before seeing a gas station, which I asked to use their phone and began to call Domino's, telling John what all happened. And he told me that the police would be there, but I told him just give me an Uber and I'll be there so I could talk to the police about what happened. After telling the cops everything, the cops went to the man's house and the guy and other men were gone. This was scary because the men were not at the house, and the cops began to try and investigate, but the men were never found. The only thing was found was the company's car was crashed into a ditch not too far from where that house was. And my wallet and phone was in the car, but my phone was shattered. This really ignored me because I got jumped and robbed, and nobody could find the people who did it. I then quit and got hired to be a retail worker. And I have now worked Domino's pizza delivery driver in over 5 years now.